Hey everybody, we are back for a quick review of last night's show of Steelheart, the Diamond Music Hall. So let's get to it, shall we? And let's see if I can get myself on the screen here. So let me see, I gotta do that. Took me a second today. I had to convert some images. That's kind of why I was just a couple minutes late. Got my Steelheart shirt on. This is a classic. It's been out for quite a while, but lots of new merch out there. Check out the website at steelheart.com. Make sure that you're checking out what's out there. Then we've also got an unboxing as usual as of late. There's a lot of things to go through, but then we're going to talk about some of those Halloween films, and we're going to start talking about some of the songs too that we might have too. So let's get started here. Here I thought that the actual show was going on Friday night for some reason. I had it in my head that it was happening Friday night, which I had a gig Friday night, so I thought I had to miss it. Well, I was in contact with Mealy about it, and I guess from what I said, he must have been thinking I was in Chicago because that's where they were the night prior. And it's been a bit of a busy time. So it was hard for he and I to, keep in touch totally real tight. But it was great. Everything was good. And then I realized, because of my lovely wife, had told me, well, I'm getting feeds that the show is here tonight, she said to me yesterday while we were out. So I was like, okay. So I did some checking and I'm like, okay. And I realized what he was saying in our text. So it all turned out great. I got out there and I got there early. So of course I got right up front, had to say hello and rock out in the front row. And I took some shots. I took some photos there. I had some videos, but I'm going to have to convert those, I do believe, to get them to be correct. So his group is Kevin and Mike and Joe, and great time. They did a great job. I'll tell you what, every one of them with what they play on guitar, the bass, the drums, just really great. Did a great job. Here's a quick photo now. And again, I am not the, well, of course, part of it's your phone, right? It's not the greatest of deals there, but here they are. I had to make sure I got a picture of this because something that I'll bring up in a later show. I did some work with Mealy years ago, and I did some labels and things for him, and he gave me one of those guitars for my birthday. It's kind of wild. So here we are. There's me looking sharp, right? Oh boy, that's sharper. So here we are at the beginning of the show. There's the backdrop. Diamond Music Hall has this wonderful big screen up there where they'll do the projections and everything. I don't know if it's if it's the same, if they still have the one that was there before, where it was more like a screen that would generate images. I'm not sure if they still have that, or is this was the new projection way that they're doing it. But here comes Mealy out on stage, getting ready for it. And there we go. Further getting ready for it. And they just kick right into Blood Pollution, of course. Kevin came out on bass and he was just slamming down on the bass line in the opening. And there he is right there. There's Mealy making his way across the stage. It's another shot. There you go. Love that bass. Always wanted to have one of those basses. The music, man. Love it. Love it. Love it. And there we go. Then they went right into, after that, they went right into Living the Life. And let's see here. There's Joe on guitar. There we go. There's another action shot, shall we say. Now, he was having some issues with the in-ear monitors, which I haven't fully used in-ear monitors, so it's not something that I can, uh, remark on. But I do know that they go out periodically for whatever reason it is. One of the biggest stories I remember is from the Academy Awards when they had Aerosmith on, and there we go. There's all three of the other guys. They Mealy stepped off for a minute, and then these guys jammed out. So it was kind of, I really liked this format because it allowed, after seeing Kiss the other night and seeing, they're going through, and then there's the big drum solo, and then there's the big guitar solo, and then there was of course, the bass thing happens the way it happens because that's part of the setup for God of Thunder. But instead of having two massive time frames of those two things, what I thought was a great way to do it. Just have all three of them on stage and spend the amount of time that you would have spent on one whole solo. These guys just rocked out and did a quick highlight of each. I just thought that was a brilliant way to do it, especially after so many years. We've seen so many of those, or some of them that are kind of sound the same sometimes. Now, here's where the in-ear monitor issue comes up. So, Mealy took it upon himself to step out into the crowd, um, and go ahead and sing some of the songs out there because he could hear it better than he could on stage. And I know the feeling. That I do understand, because it happened to me Friday night. I'm like, I took my earplug out and I'm like, it just was too loud on stage. And it's just because of the setup. It's a smaller space because the stage takes you way up closer to the ceiling. So everything was much more, it's not necessarily that we were too loud. It was just, that was the case. So yeah, I tried to get all kinds of, cool shots of, there you go. There he is, standing proud, getting the crowd going. After Living the Life, they went into Dirty Girl, and then went into Gimme Gimme, and Cabernet is next. Oh, there was the picture you see in my background there. There he is. I was trying to get just that shot. I just dumped them all in here, folks. So if some of them look kind of the same, it's just because I was trying to get the shot right to make it look a little bit better. And there we go. Last one wasn't too bad. There you go. Oh, and this was he was hopping back into place. He'd gone over to that side of the stage, and so then he and Joe were switching back, and I caught him right as he was stepping backwards back to his spot, and the boom at the end of the track. That one could have been during Eileen. Everybody loves Eileen. She's Gone was actually after Kevin, and then Eileen, and then he reminisced a little bit when he went out into the crowd, kind of reminisced about a show that I saw years ago when he was fronting the Doors, where he had the Jim Morrison spot with the guys from the Doors. And they toured through here out in St. Charles, and we got hooked up for that and went and saw the show. So this is one of my favorite moments in here of the show. And there he comes. There he's got the guitar, and he's getting ready, I do believe, to do this is after Roadhouse Blues. So that's how he reminisced about that. And then came back to the stage and did well, Angel Eyes is what he's calling it now. That's kind of because it's been re-recorded now. I'll Never Let You Go. So it's great. He was great. And then they ended up, this is right at the end, they ended with We All Die Young, that you can check out on the movie Rockstar. And there we are after the show. I had a chance to hang out backstage a little bit there. And there's the Steelheart. And you may notice, I'll leave it on here for a second, but you may notice just above his head, I do believe it says Viking Stew right there. I had to go ahead and sign the wall because I used to play out there all the time at the open jams. So I thought I will not encroach upon the Steelheart band signing inside of the heart, but I will. I thought I'll be right next to it, and plus Angels right there. So I signed right, Punky Meadows signed right in there. So that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then, of course, we had to take a picture. Here's the set list. And I really enjoyed that when Mealy was signing it, he went ahead and put right in there. You see, he put the Roadhouse Blues right in there. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, be sure and get out there on steelheart.com and check out the merch they got out there. They have some collectible things out there. There's a real nice leather studded jacket out there that you may want to check out. Really nice soft leathers on that stuff. I got to check it out last night and see how it felt. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Everything sounded, like I say, everything sounded great. Mealy sounded great. We're in this time frame where we're everything's kind of shifted, right? It's not so much anymore who's better, although I will say that there's what is it called? The hair metal life. I think there's a thing out there on Facebook where they're talking about who's the better front man. And you're like, don't even do that. Better is not a thing we should strive for. Who do you prefer is something you can strive for. That's something we can ask. Who do you prefer? Because the one I saw had Jeff Tate going up against Prince. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So it's like, it's kind of just silly stuff. It's like, it's the apples and oranges thing you do with David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar and Van Halen. It's not even a worthwhile debate because David Lee Roth was fantastic and amazing in what he did in helping to build that huge franchise of Van Halen. Who else could have done that, with all that influence that he had from Jim Dandy and all that, spectacle and all the martial arts things that he did and all the amazing jumps and flips and being just a sassy, hot looking front man. Right. So he got all that started. Sammy Hagar then had there was a whole other era with him in it, which I thought still had a lot of great stuff. I wasn't so much in love with the production at that time, but still, they both did great, fantastic things in that band. And it's not even worth saying who was better. Blake, what's up? Heart of Steel. That's right. That is right. What's up there, Crimson Cross? Yeah, everything is good. Thank you very much. And let's move on to the next thing. We're going to talk about our next movies, but also I'm adding to the countdown. I'm adding my a list of some stuff of some songs that you may want to use. And I'm going to open up my phone real quick here because I made a playlist on Spotify that does that. And so we'll just kind of give you a few of those as we're going here. The first thing I wanted to do too, though, the next thing I wanted to do is I do need to see if I can find these because I grabbed a bunch of screenshots today, and I wonder. Let me see if oh, you know what though? Yeah, they're not ready. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was just going to read them to you because I had them here. That's right. I knew that. All right. So there was an article written about the Kiss movie, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, which I enjoy more watching the Japanese version, which is Kiss and the Attack of the Phantoms. I like the different music. I talked about this last time on this past report when I was talking about the Kiss show. I started mentioning about that movie and saying that when they did it there, they had the songs from the solo albums, and there was actually more in there than I remembered. So that was kind of cool. But they were just talking about the movie and how it was made and what happened with it, some of the things out there. And there was some interesting things on it. A friend of mine sent it to me, and I was reading through it. But then the remarks at the bottom were what really got me. I loved some of these. So I'll just read a few of these to you. Chuck mentions the 7-year-old boy that I was when it came out, loved every minute of it. That's enough for me. Sarah says, I really enjoyed this film, but I watched it as a B movie comedy and it ticked all the boxes. I thought Kiss were great in it. Let's see. Cesar says, I was 13, was the 13-year-old when the movie was screened in Peru in 1979. During those years, Kiss was hugely popular in Peru, so the movie theaters were packed by kids like me who were excited to see their favorite band on the big screen. It even had 2 bonus scenes showing the videos. They during that thing, they also showed the videos for Sure Know Something and I Was Made for Loving You. Wow. Well, 79, Sure Know Something? Because that was in 1980, right? Because that was off of Unmasked, which was in 80. Interesting. So Alan says, if you want to see a good movie with Kiss as the theme, watch Detroit Rock City. Movie is funny and the soundtrack is awesome. It's a pretty good film. I do own it. I like it. The weirdest thing though is when they did a video and they had the young guys that were in the film singing Rock and Roll All Night. I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's one of those things where you're like, are you really into this or do you really like it? Or are you just singing the song? It's kind of like this new trend where people wear bands on their clothing and they don't even know who the band is. You're like, oh, wow, you're into those guys. No. You're like, then why are you wearing it? I don't understand. The Megadeth story is the best. Paul says, no lie, I'm currently watching this. And he laughs. Every 10:28, I throw it on as any good member of a Kiss army should. Scott says, I agree with Ace. Paul and Gene took this movie too seriously. It was a fun rock and roll film. What did they think they were making? Gone with the Wind? Well, let me put it this way, though. When you're talking about taking something seriously, even though it's a comedy, you do have to kind of take it seriously because it's like I told a friend of mine once. I'm like, they were a little nervous about doing a performance on stage, and it was a little comedy performance. And I said, well, you know what? Let me tell you this. Give it what you got. Give it all you got to make it good. Because people are either going to laugh at you for 2 reasons. They're either going to laugh because you're genuinely funny, or they're going to laugh because it's so ridiculous. And so I would rather be laughed with than laughed at. Either way, I've learned to brush those things off as best as possible. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. There's some days, sure, probably get a little butt hurt over this or that, but it diminishes quicker, you know? So you got to let that roll off. But I get what they're saying. You know, Gene and Paul are like, look, take it seriously because we know that I'm sure that they're like, we know that there's humor in this thing and we get it. But if you don't play it, then you're just laughed at because it's ridiculous. Reg says it was cheesy, great fun. I still watch it. Bottom line, looking at other superhero type of shows at the time, it's just as good. As 14-year-old comic book nerd, etc., I couldn't wait for it. So, oh shoot, I just missed where I was. Hit the wrong button. Let me see here where I was. Yep. I'd like to see it, says Nathan. But it's too hard. It's hard to find, he says. Bill says my 7-year-old self loved it. Not so much now, but hey, it's Kiss. And Ron says I had 103 fever. This one I love. 103 fever watching this movie, hoping my mom wasn't going to take me to the ER. Rock and freak and roll. Anthony says at the time it was shown on television, we were all eager to watch it. We got to see the band in its first movie. Now, I do like this one too, because if I think about it, going way back, I wouldn't see Kiss live. I just didn't. I don't. We didn't go to concerts. I didn't go to concerts. I didn't know how to get to the concert. So yeah, I was all the way in high school in 1980 when Judas Priest came through for British Steel, and I still didn't know what general admission meant. Just didn't. It wasn't something I'd experienced yet, and hadn't really been to a concert. Even though the very first concerts that I went to were at like the Illinois State Fair, and those were general admission, but I didn't understand that. Still didn't know what it meant. So here I went to my first show with Judas Priest that I bought a ticket, and my brother dropped me off like 2 hours ahead. So I was within the first 20 people. So I was like second row, and had to stand the whole time with my pulled ligament. And we can talk more about that later. But yeah, I mean, general admission, I don't know. I didn't know what that meant. It just meant you don't have a seat. When you get in, make a move, make a run, which I couldn't at the time. Scott says definitely not a great movie, but it's still very cool that they did it. Oh, yeah. So what I was saying was that, yeah, I didn't get to see them live. So watching this show, it was goofy. It was Hanna-Barbera. I was watching Hanna-Barbera back then anyway, right? I'd been watching Hanna-Barbera. By that time, I'd been watching Hanna-Barbera for almost 10 years. Through Scooby-Doo, Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, all of these different shows that I love. And so this was my way of seeing Kiss live and going, holy crap. Why I didn't push to see them live, I don't understand. I don't know why. But Scott did say, but it's still very cool that they did it, and I watch it now and then. Robert, I was 11 or 12 and loved every minute of it. Kelly says, thankfully, the Scooby-Doo crossover went over far better. It's funny, I just mentioned that. Ashley says, it's part of my childhood. I love it. Jerry, when you're 15 and your heroes make a movie, it's cool. Mark, I really love that movie. I still have the VHS tape that I taped it on from the late movie. Oh yeah, the late movie. Yeah. D says, yet it was the best thing the band ever put out. Wow. Okay. Some of these people are snarky. Janet says, Kiss fans like it. It's very well directed. Now there's one of these that's kind of funny. Ken says, it's so bad, it's good. I still watch it from time to time. Tony, 8-year-old me loved it. Michael, wow, I remember when it came out. To think back on how long that was, a lifetime ago. That's crazy wild. I'm trying to find this one feed. It's awesome. To be honest, I like it better than Detroit Rock City movie, John says. Ernie, it wasn't Citizen Kane, but I don't think we expected it to be. It was simple, and it was fun, and it rocked. Very true to their formula, and that's why fans like it, and it's become a cult classic. Van says, my favorite rock and roll movie. I hope I can get to this one thread about here's what John says. The Island of Dr. Moreau was the film prior to Kiss and the Phantom. Great memories. Let's see. Somebody. Oh man, I thought I took a picture of it because it was here. It is. You ready? Jason says, greatest movie of all time. Should have won 4 Best Actor Oscars and Best Picture of the Year Oscar. Matt then replies, and the Stanley Cup, the Lombardi Trophy, and a couple of Nobels. Why not? To which Jason said, exactly. To which Matt says, and the Congressional Medal of Honor. I loved that one. It was beautiful. Oh, which Matt replies, uh, no, which Andy replies, if Jethro Tull can get a Grammy for best heavy metal album, why not? I just thought that was a great thing. Just do a couple more of these. It was so nice to hear the apocalyptic version of Kiss. It's too bad they lost. I bet Robot Peter still doesn't play drums on the album. David says, I don't know. How was it ever going to end up being Hard Day's Night meets Star Wars if it was being produced as a TV movie by Hanna-Barbera? Oh, to which Bill said they barely know anything about music. Um, and finally, Felix says, I'd rather watch this than the new Taylor Swift movie that's breaking box office. So there you go. You gotta love it. Oh my Lord. All right. Shall we get into an unboxing, shall we? Or no, let's go for a few of our movies. So that was a quick review. So my first one here is because this has a great Ozzy song on it, Party with the Animals, and it's got light, what is it? Shoot, light changes to black. I think is what it is. It's like I can't remember. By Halford is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and uh, uh, another shout out since he's passed to Paul Rubens, who was in here. He played a vampire in this movie. So yeah, so check that out. It's got a great soundtrack. Really cool. Those two songs. Light fades to black. That's what it is. I'm sure somebody's told me that. I'm sorry. Let's see what this says. I'm not sure if my chat is working properly on YouTube. I don't see any other people commenting. Yeah, I mean, Blake's out here. I remember seeing the Meets Van apart. Yeah, it's fun. It is fun. Like I say, I finished it this morning. Another one that had kind of a classic, like classic rock and roll soundtrack. Like I'm talking 60s. Probably I don't know if it was late 50s, 60s rock and roll, is Christine. Now, if you want to check out a great album and a great tune, if you're into the heavy stuff, there was hair metal, and then there was metal that was hairy, right? So like there was hair metal like Poison, Motley Crue, um, Warrant, Winger, all that stuff. Winger still, though, was a little bit different musically. They looked the part, but musically they were different. And Scorpions teased up their hair, but I guess some of their stuff was kind of hair metally at that time. They went pretty pop. So at the time, there's a killer record that's called License to Kill, and it's by a band called Malice. And if you've never heard that and you love straight ahead, that metal blade kind of, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's just that great, has that, I'm trying to think of somebody at the time that was more like that. There was so many. Well, like Wasp, Wasp considered a hair metal band, but they had an edge, Lizzie Borden, these kind of bands. But Malice appeared. It was the movie that had Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage, and it was called Vice Versa. And they go to a concert, and it's when they've switched. And so then he takes him to a Malice concert. And so check that out. So they're in that movie. Kind of like in Foxes when Jodie Foster and Scott Baio and they all go to the Angel concert. So it's like that. So they or on Wayne's World when they go see Alice Cooper. But be sure and check that out. There's a song on there based on that movie, that book storyline, Christine. And last but not least, because this did have some scary parts in it and full of hard rock and heavy metal, is Heavy Metal. We talked about it the other day. I got both of my copies still sitting over here. But there's some real creepy stuff in there. Of course, like they had the Why can't I think about it now? I could say it any other day. It's my hmm, Lochnar. That's what it was, the Lochnar. So, I mean, it just it melted people. They were just decimated. That's the word I was looking for. Just decimated people. And then there was the scene, where it goes into the guy has to parachute into the graveyard of fighter planes and stuff. It was just crazy. That was creepy, nasty. Kind of reminded me of the first scene from Blade. If you ever seen that movie, if you haven't, pull that out and watch that for Halloween, because that opening scene in Blade. Great, 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 great. So yeah, those three movies. We'll do some more. I'll be having more happening before Halloween, so I'll probably do a quick report tomorrow and maybe one last one on Halloween. Let's get over to the songs before I do an unboxing and step out of here. So here are some songs. If you want to add these to your playlist for when the trick-or-treaters are coming. You ever seen some of these homes where they'll have their all their wares out and the lights are on and they have nice speakers out there and they're blasting songs that would be favorable for Halloween. So, you might think of your usuals like Ghostbusters, Somebody's Watching Me. What else? Devil Went Down to Georgia. I Put a Spell on You. There's a lot of these other ones too that people put down that, I mean, you're like, okay, I get that the title says something kind of scary or whatever, but it's not necessarily and lyrically and everything. It's not necessarily what you are thinking is scary at all. Um, but I have things like this. Don't Fear the Reaper is one that's on a lot of lists. Godzilla's on a lot of lists. What about The Legend of Woolly Swamp? That's a good one. Charlie Daniels Band. You can check it out on their Decade album. It's in a couple of places. I think it's on Million Mile Reflections is what it's on originally. Go to the first Molly Hatchet album and they have The Creeper. And he's got that big when the creeper comes around. Then you can go to Highway to Hell and listen to Highway to Hell. You can put that one on. But also The Creeper, which ends with a Mork and Mindy reference when he goes, Shazbat, Nanu, Nanu, right at the end. And then it goes, bam. It's pretty cool. Another one, Godzilla was on Spectres by Blue Oyster Cult, 1977. Great record. I have a little interesting thing that I'll show on one of the shows coming up. Cool Blue Oyster Cult thing that I still have. I'm thinking about, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm trying to decide if I want to like frame them. They had an offer. If you look, I don't know if they reprinted it on there, but I'm sure that they did. There was an offer in 1977 on the Blue Oyster Cult record, Spectres, to send in a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address, and they would send you all the lyrics to all the albums. And they did. And it was, I'll show it to you eventually. I have pictures of it now because I took pictures of all of the pages. I cut them in half and then took pictures. But it was this green back in the day when they had the zip, 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 it would make all this disgusting noise when it printed. And it was computer paper, and it had a white line and a green line, white line, green line, and it had holes all the way down the sides that were perforated so you could tear it off. And they just run these sheets of lyrics out on one of those, and then they put them in your envelope and send them off. So I got them, and I'll mention more of that on another show when I'm talking about it. But yeah. So anyway, that was Spectres. On the end of Spectres, you have Nosferatu, or Nosferatu, as they pronounce it, in the song. Also, on that same record is a haunting tune called It's called I Love the Night. It's about a guy who has a disagreement with his girlfriend, and he steps out, and he's out on the, he's kind of out on a walk, and he meets this mysterious woman who says that she loves the night. I love the night. But it's this beautiful, uh, very haunting melody. And check it out. It's from the Spectres album. So you have 3 songs from that Spectres album you can put on your playlist. So that's Godzilla, Nosferatu, and I Love the Night. Then we have Demon's Kiss, which is a track that they did from that was on the Bad Channels soundtrack. Check out that Bad Channels soundtrack. It's got a lot of good stuff on it. Blue Oyster Cult did the score for it, and then they also did some other songs, the Four Horsemen, and then there's also Ron Keel is on there with Saber Tiger, and some other people are on that too. So check that out. Yeah, Christina's classic. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time. Tearing Out the Holes was the best. What's up, Kethrick? Then there's a lot of Blue Oyster Cult stuff. You have Black Blade, which is based on a storyline from Michael Moorcock about the a death blade that is found, and then it takes him on a killing spree. Monsters is on that same album. These Divine Wind is on that, which is about basically it's a group, wanting to get rid of somebody. They also had a track that's, I don't think it's on Spotify, which is why it's not on my playlist. And it's called Harvest Moon. 2 songs that are from Harvest Moon: Man with the X-Ray Eyes, which is the old Ray Milland movie, and that's what it's about. And then also there's also a tune called Harvest Moon and the Man with the X-Ray Eyes. So then there's the Kolchak, the Night Stalker theme, which is always great. I love that show. And Mystified by Fleetwood Mac. Great song written by Bob Welch. Bob Welch, let me tell you about one other one, and then I'll get to an unboxing here. While I grab something here, I'll just talk as I grab some stuff. Bob Welch would do that. And you can actually go on YouTube here, and you can check out the movie. I think it's on YouTube. But this song that he wrote here, Mystified, is about, he loved all the kind of uncanny things that happened in the world. So he wrote Mystified, which is about different locations in different countries where there are weird things that happen. And so it's a very haunting, awesome tune that he did with Fleetwood Mac. But then he would go on and do French Kiss, which had Ebony Eyes on it, and sent his solo version of Sentimental Lady. He did a version with Fleetwood Mac, but then he would do one subsequently on French Kiss and have a huge hit with it as well. Then his follow-up album was Three Hearts, which had the Precious Love was the big hit off of that. But I bought the paperback when I was in high school through Scholastic Books. And I think that's where I got it. Or maybe I got it off the shelf at the grocery store. The Ghost of Flight 401, which was made into a made for television movie with Ernest Borgnine as one of the ghosts of Flight 401. And it was about a Eastern flight that went down, and then the ghosts of the crew members would show up on other planes. And this was based on a true story. And he wrote a song about it. The book is kind of hard to get through. One day I'll finish it, but it just is tough to get through because the person who wrote it seems like they're promoting something else that they were doing all the time. Well, I was working on this other thing, and I'm like, okay, can we just move on with the story? I really don't care what you were doing at the time. I just want to know what's going on. Give me the facts, like Dragnet, right? So check out the Ghost of Flight 401. It's from the Three Hearts album, and Mystified, which Let me double check that for you. Sorry, I just started the song instead of going to the album. Oh man, what is the album? That's really weird. I'll figure it out. But yeah, a couple of great songs. Mystified's a lot of fun. I am just going to go ahead and I'm just going to check it out right now. Mystified. It's sure. All right. Mystified. Bob Welch. Fleetwood Mac. I'm sorry. It's not Mystified. That's something else. Hypnotized. Wow. Mystified. And it is from Mystery to Me. Hypnotized. Mystified is a whole other song by them. Let's just get away from that. Song is called Hypnotized, and it's from the Mystery to Me album with the big ape on it, eating cake on the beach. All right. Oh, me and my brain. You got to love it. Some days you do, some days you don't. So anyway, but yeah, do that. Hypnotized. You got me hypnotized. I can hear it now. Not Mystified. Mystified also is a song by Damn Yankees, which is a great song. Something I want to do in my band. All right. So before I get myself further in trouble with stupid stuff, let us do an unboxing, shall we? Now, this is this came in yesterday, and I do believe. Oh, look at this. I just played a track on Friday nights. We added to the set list a while ago. And the first time I ever heard it was on the live album by Whitesnake. So I found this because I've never owned these records, and it's all the early records of Whitesnake in this little box of snakes. So let's open this up. I will show it to you right now. Maybe I can, let's see here. I'll just kind of do this so you can be with me while I'm doing it. Because I hadn't expected to do all that. So then look, it just, there you go. There we go, a little box of snakes. So what do we have? We have a booklet on the top. It's probably got some cool, so it says little box of snakes, the Sunburst years 78 to 82. So it looks like liner notes and lyrics to everything, I guess. That's pretty cool. Look at that. All right, there we go. All right, so we have Whitesnake. We have Snakebite. David Coverdale's Whitesnake. And then here, then we have the Whitesnake album. That is Trouble. Got to remember, I haven't had these, so when I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh, what's the name? And then we have Live at the Hammersmith. That's cool. I've not heard that. It's going to be great. Love Hunter. Love Hunter. That's how he kind of, pretty cool album cover. All right. And then we have Ready and Willing. Or right? Yeah. Ready and Willing. And oh, here we go. I just bought this on vinyl. And I think this is going to be, this only is my vinyl that I used to have. It's not the new one that I bought, well, which is, was used, but it's not the double album. This is the single album. This is what I had when I got the vinyl before. Now I have the one that has 2 discs. And here's the song. It's the last song on the first side. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. So that's really cool. It's good to have that. And we have Come and Get It. And we have Saints and Sinners. There we go. So it's pretty cool. Nice little box set. They're all in these, just the simple sleeve. That's it. with the disc. That's it. Kind of like the interesting. It's got the little box of snakes on every one of them. That's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Well, good. I hadn't really actually thought that's what that was. Such a great box to have, though. I can't wait to check all that out. Check out all that. Let's go ahead and. This is something I do believe I know what this is. I heard about a book from Nerdrotic. Is one of my favorite channels. Talks about movies and Marvel, and they also talk a little video game stuff here and there. But they have real heavy duty reviews of stuff. And nope, that's not what this is at all. This is great. This is a television program that I've been trying to get all of it because I really love this this animation studio. I have for many decades. I've really enjoyed it, and they did this series, the Thundercats. Don't know if we have any Thundercats fans out there, but got a little lenticular thing going on there. Pretty cool. So yeah, so I had to. I'm trying to get these. This is season 2, volume 1. That's when you know they've made a lot. Is when they have the volumes, and that kind of drives me nuts because it gets expensive. But that's why I have this one, because it was a pretty dang good price. So yeah, so it's got the multi-discs with it. So they also had 2 other shows that they produced. Rankin and Bass is the studio that did these. They also had, at the same time as Thundercats, they had Tiger Sharks and they had Silverhawks. So that was really cool. So good, fantastic. Now I got to figure out what the other thing is, or where it is. I ordered something else that I'm eager to have, and I don't know where it is. So, but there was a new book that was put out talking about the kind of the way Marvel has been throughout this, the reign and the fall of a lot of this stuff that's going on. Just saw that the trailer was on today during the football game for the Marvels, and they are holding off having people review it early like normally they would, because and there's lots of speculation as to why. They're maybe concerned that there's 2 ways of looking at it. Either many people know that there's it could be a spoiler if you say about somebody who shows up in the movie, so that could be a ruining moment. I don't know why they care about that. They haven't cared about it in the past. They've always shown too much, as far as I'm concerned. And so much so that I don't even go in for previews anymore. I just wait out in the lobby. I think maybe I've mentioned that before. But and then the other speculation is that it's just crap, and they don't want the word getting out that it's crap and that people won't go and see it. So there's your 2 camps. So all right, guys. So I think that's about it. Hopefully I'll find my book. And then I will, because I got another box right there I can check. But we got another report coming. I'll do some more Halloween movies. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do one more, because this one, oh geez, I don't know. Which one should I do? Okay, I'm going to do this one because you need to know about this one. It was Brian De Palma's first film. Okay, so his first film was Phantom of the Paradise. He sold his soul for rock and roll. So if you look up here, you'll see this is Paul Williams here. And he's like one of the biggest names in here. But you'll recognize this guy who plays Meat. You'll recognize him when you, if you get a chance to see this. Do yourself a favor. Take some time. If you love Rocky Horror, and you dig that kind of camp and you're cool with that, then check this out. It makes a lot more sense than Rocky Horror, let me put it that way. But Brian De Palma's first film, and it's so worth it. I never watched it when I was a kid. It came out, and I just remember this mask, and there's some different artwork that was out, promotional artwork. There you go. It's better there. And I just remember the mask and all that stuff, and it ended up in horror books and magazines. So I was like, oh, cool. So finally, years later, I checked it out and I fell in love with it. Paul Williams is he's a great writer. He did so many songs that a lot of people have done. The Carpenters have done his stuff. Three Dog Night did his stuff. So many others that have covered his material, and including Sean Cassidy. I know everybody's jumping up and down about that one. So anyway, but dude, check out that Phantom of the Paradise. I think it's worthwhile if you dig that kind of camp, you know. It's definitely way above Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. So so anyway, but that's that. I won't go any further with that. So we'll do another report probably tomorrow. I might just do a quick lightning flash news tomorrow with some more of the movies and some more songs to tell you about. And I think that's going to be about it, folks. So enjoy the rest of your evening. I hate to even think that Monday's on its way, but it is. And then we'll get through and they make another weekend after this. So what the heck? And then we're into November. That's crazy. It's crazy. And then I got a gig again. So thank you guys for being here. It's good hearing from you. Enjoy some Steelheart too, and get out there and check out the stuff. Also keep checking out Midnight Devils. We're looking forward to the different news reports. We'll have some lightning news flashes from their road trip over to the UK, and we'll keep in touch with them where they're going to be hanging with Pretty Boy Floyd. So maybe even Pretty Boy Floyd might even make an appearance. So we'll see what's going on. All right, take it easy, guys. We'll see you soon.